everyone, and welcome back. Our next section is an introduction to the quantum research and quantum startups within Bristol. And I'm joined by Professor Noah Linden, who is the academic lead of the Bristol Quantum Information Institute. And he's going to tell us a bit more about Bristol's quantum ecosystem. Thanks so much, Noah.
Thanks very much, Kim. So I'm just going to say a few words about, to use a slightly hackneyed phrase, this ecosystem we've set up in Bristol. It comes under the heading of the Bristol Quantum Information Institute, which sort of encompasses all our activities from theory to experimental work to technology and education. The Bristol Quantum Information Institute is only one of only 7 institutes that the university set up recently. And so there was essentially a beauty competition where you had to put in a bid, and the university chose a very small number of the areas that it feels are really important, and so the existence of the Bristol Quantum Information Institute is a sort of evidence of the strategic importance of quantum information generally to the university. The Quantum Information Institute goes from the most fundamental theory, so answering questions about the very nature of quantum information. What is it? What is it useful for? That feeds into experimental work, and many of these are completely pioneering areas that Bristol has developed ourselves. That feeds into technology. So following from the experiments in photonics, for example, that's led to a series of startups, which I'll talk about shortly. And that also feeds back to questions about fundamental theory. So on the one hand, these different areas are linked together, but they also they very much feed into each other and raise questions for each other. But in addition, we have a really substantial effort in education. I'll talk a little bit about that, and also in a wide variety of aspects of enterprise, and indeed in public engagement. So let me talk about some of the components of the Bristol Quantum Information Institute. So the first one I want to talk about is the experimental effort. So this is a very substantial research group focusing particularly on photonics and related areas, and it's based in the departments of physics and electronic and electrical engineering. It's definitely not an overstatement to say that Bristol has invented the field of integrated quantum photonics, and we've also been a pioneer and world leader in quantum key distribution for many decades. So that's, on one hand, that's experiment. On the theory side, this is based in the departments of physics and mathematics. Many of the cornerstones of the field were invented in Bristol. So fundamental results about entanglement and quantum non-locality. Also applications of quantum information in other disciplines, like understanding the thermodynamics of microscopic systems, but also in quantum computation, where we've invented a series of algorithms with exponential advantage over classical computers. So these are the two sort of main planks of the theory effort. We also have a very substantial effort in graduate education, both graduate and undergraduate, but first talking about graduate. So on the one hand, there's, as a PhD student, you can work individually in the schools of physics, mathematics, or engineering. But also, very importantly, we have a Centre for Doctoral Training. So there are only 2 of these in the UK now, one in UCL and one in Bristol. We take on of the order of 10 students a year. It's also fair to say, I mean, we have a pretty substantial undergraduate teaching program. So we're just finishing teaching a course now, just finished this in the last week on quantum information theory. So this has 140 students. It's a final year course. It's the biggest course in the science faculty. Interestingly, it's biggest by a factor of 2 from the next biggest course. And the next biggest course is called quantum computing, and within mathematics is by a factor of 2. So within mathematics, it's by a factor, the quantum information is by a factor of 2 bigger than the next biggest course, which is quantum computing, which is indeed bigger by a factor of 2 from the next one, which I think is something like Galois theory. So we have a really major effort here. And recently we had a visit from a senior executive from Alphabet, which is, as you know, the parent company of Google, who told us that he had never seen, and I mean, he visits institutes companies and universities around the world, he said, kudos on such a successful program, not seen this before at this scale. So talked about undergraduate and graduate training, but I want to say a little bit more about the quantum engineering CDT. So we churn out a substantial number of PhD students. We're halfway through. We've already had 5 years of it, and we've just recently been refunded for another 5 years. It's vital that these students they learn as a cohort, but also having this cohort of students enables us to do some other things which would typically be very challenging. In particular, we teach them about complementary skills to do with things like commercialization and communication, and we have a strong link to a wide variety of collaborators, both academic and industrial. And the last two sort of planks or related planks of the Bristol effort is in enterprise and innovation. And I think it's fair to say we really have been well ahead of the curve here. So we've had at least 30 startups in the last 4 years. Many of them are founded by Bristol PhDs or staff. So we really have a very substantial effort here. And very recently, we gained £35 million worth of funding from the local authority to develop the Quantum Technology Innovation Centre, which will be a substantial chunk of it will be based down in the new Temple Quarter development. We will already have a pilot open and housing startups. And as I said, it's going to be in the Temple Quarter development, and it's actually it's a really major plank of the Bristol University expansion down there. And related to the enterprise and innovation is our pioneering program, QTech, the Quantum Technologies Enterprise Centre. And I'm really not aware of anything like this actually anywhere internationally. So it's a training program post PhD, and it helps people with scientific ideas to develop new businesses. And it's only been going for 4 years, but it's already generated, as Kim was telling me, more than £40 million of equity contract revenue grant funding, already 65 high-value jobs. And we think this is a really very exciting exercise that we do, taking from the PhD and beyond, which is normally an area which has had very little focus. We're very well connected in Bristol. I did an exercise recently over a 3-year period. We had 280 joint papers with 110 international institutions from all over the world, USA, Canada, including places like MIT and Waterloo, the absolutely leading centres around the world. And finally, I just wanted to flash up a list of some of our collaborators and partners, and they go from the sort of industry giants such as Toshiba and Google. Actually, I will mention Google in particular. So you may well be aware that they very recently announced this really fundamental breakthrough, which is a so-called quantum computational supremacy, a terrible phrase, but meaning they have a quantum computer which is so complicated it's extremely challenging for any digital computer to simulate it. So somehow we're at this threshold where a quantum computer can be more powerful than any digital computer. We have a collaboration with the Google team who's done this. In fact, they tell us that this collaboration we have with them, which is a grant through the EPSRC, which is the only collaboration they have with an academic institution outside the US. So we have links with these major companies, but also I'd like to point out, examples like KETS, who they'll be hearing from shortly, Phasecraft, these startups within Bristol, which are really exciting and doing very dynamic things across the field of quantum information. And also, I can't go without mentioning PsiQuantum. This is a spin out from Bristol, recently raised $200 million in California. But generally, we're extremely well connected, both nationally and internationally, to companies and also academic institutions. So Bristol has developed this really very exciting a range of activities encompassing the entire spectrum, from the most fundamental questions through to experiments and through to innovation and education. And it's a fantastic place to be doing quantum information theory and quantum information theory, experiment and innovation. So that's it from me. Thanks very much, Kim.
Thank you so much, Noah. So with so much exciting research going on in Bristol, and also because of the Quantum Technology Enterprise Centre, we have a thriving quantum technology startup scene, which has really kind of grown in the last few years. So today we're going to be joined by 6 of the quantum startups that are currently active within Bristol, and I'm going to let them tell their own story.
Hi, my name is Chris Irvin, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of KETS. KETS' mission is to protect humanity's most valuable asset, information, because in the current era, it is absolutely not secure. And this is a problem today because attackers can harvest our information and decrypt it later with massive compute, because things like quantum computing are now coming on strong. Luckily, there are quantum technologies like KETS that are fundamentally secure. So at KETS, what we figured out how to do is to miniaturize quantum-safe hardware into a size, a form factor, and a price point that now makes it commercially interesting to telecommunications providers, data centers, and defense and space. And crucially, it's easily integrated within their systems. There's 3 things I want you to remember today about KETS. Number 1, KETS are the world leaders in developing on-chip quantum encryption hardware. Our solutions are the size of your thumbnail, not the size of a massive computing rack, allowing easy integration with every device on the planet. Number 2, we've already completed development of our first product, demo kits, which you can see more about on our website, and you can see some pictures here. And we're now working with Thales, the leading Tier 1 security solutions provider, on a first proof of concept. And number 3, we've just launched our full £6 million Series A fundraise to focus on our next steps, which will be early trials with our key customers in data centers and telcos. So if you're interested in investment, you never know when you find a few £1,000,000 down the back of a sofa cushion, or employment, we've been on a hiring spree recently, and we're still looking for an RF electronics engineer, or you care about making your company quantum safe, or just want to come and find out more about this whole quantum encryption thing, get in touch, or better yet, come see us at our table at lunch, and we'll happily answer any questions you have. Thanks very much.
Hi, I'm Wen Miao, Business Development Director and one of the 5 co-founders of Quantum Dice. We are excited to be the first in the world to commercialize a compact and completely embedded self-certifying quantum random number generator. You may not realize it, but random number generators are present all around us, and in fact, one of the most important uses is in providing the seeds for encryption systems such as those protecting our telecommunication and data storage networks. In an increasingly digitized world that is expected to be connected through 75.4 billion devices by 2025, protecting the security of data is becoming an understandably increasingly important and crucial task. Currently, all modern-day encryption depends on a source of random numbers, and what makes Quantum Dice unique is our DISC protocol, which was developed by world-leading experts in quantum physics at the University of Oxford. DISC is unique in providing the user live assurance of the random numbers generated, and hence protects against hardware-based attacks, as well as prevents problems due to silent failure of the device. We are a young and dynamic founding team sharing a big vision for the future of optical computing hardware. Currently, we're looking to expand, so if you are a conscientious and self-motivated electronics or photonics engineer, please come and say hi to us at the Quantum Dice table at the networking session afterwards, or reach out to us directly via LinkedIn or email.
One in 5 of us will experience serious sight loss in our lifetime. Yet 56% of cases that end in blindness could have been prevented. And the estimated economic benefits of ending preventable blindness are $500 billion in the developing world alone. Advanced eye scanners use a technique called optical coherence tomography to identify sight-destroying conditions before symptoms develop. However, they are big, heavy, and can cost anything up to $120,000 each. We are developing an integrated photonic module that will bring optical coherence tomography into the same price bracket as more basic ophthalmic tools, It will enable systems to become fully portable, allowing them to be deployed in presently inaccessible locations, opening up new routes to market and transforming the way patients access life-changing diagnostics. My name is Alasdair Price. I'm the CEO of Silaton Limited, and I would like to thank you very much for listening.
If you want to effectively monitor methane emissions, first you have to find them, and then you have to quantify them. QLM is a startup company using quantum single photon detector technology to build LiDAR cameras able to achieve both of these requirements in a single platform. The basis of QLM's technology is single photon level absorption of a LiDAR image, using a tunable diode laser operating at a suitable wavelength for the gas species in question. Prototypes have been developed that are sensitive to methane levels in the ppm range, utilizing the quantum nature of single photon detection to achieve measurements over very long distances and produce heat map visualizations of methane concentration over traditional images of a site. Because of the spectroscopic nature of the LiDAR technique, the camera provides a 3D picture of the amount of gas in the beam path, and this enables the calculation of expected leak rate. This is hugely beneficial to a continuous monitoring system, as it allows rational decisions to be made about the prioritization of leak repair operations. The intention is to release the first version of the camera in 2021, competitively priced. The unit will be a fixed emplacement solution mounted on a pan-tilt mechanism that enables 360-degree horizontal and 180-degree vertical rotation, allowing it to look in any direction. It will have a validated methane measurement performance over a range in the order of 100 parts per million meter, the path integrated concentration along the entire beam, up to 150,000 parts per million meter. It will be able to do this over a range of at least 200 meters, and when it has access to wind, speed, and direction data, translate its concentration measurements into leak rate estimates of between 5 and 5,000 liters per minute with better than 20% error. It will have a simple and intuitive browser-based graphical user interface, which will incorporate the already demonstrated heat map overlay of a visual image. This revolutionary solution can help the oil and gas industry to monitor, report, and mitigate greenhouse gas emissions. And we're excited to speak with you today about how we can help with your particular requirements.
Hi, I'm Anthony Lang. I'm the director and co-founder of Duality Quantum Photonics. I'm also an associate professor at the University of Bristol, where I've been developing photonic quantum technologies for the last 15 years. We co-founded Duality Quantum Photonics to commercialize quantum technologies that had outgrown what can be achieved in an academic environment. The chief technology officer for Duality is Alberto Politti, who is an associate professor at the University of Southampton, where he fabricates devices in the clean rooms there. And our chief science officer is David Tew, who is an associate professor of quantum chemistry at the University of Oxford. And he leads on developing applications for our quantum processors with a focus on quantum chemistry. So we design and fabricate photonic quantum processors, and we work with companies to do this. So for example, we're working with British Telecom on chips to run quantum algorithms for network analysis. And with a European pharma company, we're exploring quantum algorithms to simulate molecular dynamics for applications including drug design. We're currently part of 3 Innovate UK projects that align with our long-term technology roadmap. And these include quantum authentication tools in a project led by British Telecom, developing an operating system for quantum computers together with other quantum hardware companies in the UK in a project led by River Lane. And we've recently been successful in a joint UK-Canada proposal to develop photonic hardware that is robust to operation at cryogenic conditions. Our 5-year ambition is to realize a set of special purpose quantum computers that can deliver practical solutions to a range of commercial problems at a scale that cannot be achieved by classical computers, including supercomputers. Thank you.
My name is Stasia Stanisic, and I'm a quantum software researcher at Phasecraft. Phasecraft is a quantum software startup developing new algorithms and the theory behind them, as well as then developing the software that takes these algorithms and brings them to life on real hardware. We're interested in most exciting applications on the noisy intermediate scale quantum devices, and we work in close collaboration with the hardware manufacturers to ensure the best performance can be then achieved. We're not interested in building software platforms and operating systems. When it comes to the area of materials modeling, we have already actually achieved some of these goals. We've developed a new algorithm which outperforms the older ones by orders of magnitude. And we also took some of the existing algorithms and then made them a little bit more efficient and implemented them on real hardware. Finally, we also have developed new ways of encoding some of these problems into qubits. In general, we are interested in any applications that make a real-world difference and that can be achieved with near-term devices. Thank you for listening.
So up next is going to be our panel session on the difficulties in commercialising quantum tech. There'll be a short interlude whilst we get the panellists together in the backstage area, so please take this time to start adding your questions into the chat box on the right-hand side.